Good afternoon, everybody. We are joined by General Manager Mike Jacobs and Interim Head Coach Rumba Munthali. Mike, let's start with your thoughts on today's result.
Having to play 3 games in a week and such a quick turnaround from Wednesday is definitely a challenge. And especially with everything that's happened this week, to have Rumba get the guys so organized so quickly, to have them play very brave in the first half on the front foot. Really, really encouraged to kind of see the energy the guys came out with. And it's a bit of a marathon to get through 3 games in a week, and obviously you want to get 3 points all the time, especially at home. But certainly something to build off of.
Thank you, Mike. Rumba, what did you see from the team today?
I was pleased, like Mike said. I thought guys were brave, guys were organized. With the little time that we had to prepare, I thought guys were up for the challenge and were extremely positive with each other. And I think there's a lot of positives to take from the game, and especially with such a short turnaround. So, yeah, I was really, really pleased and really, really happy for the guys.
Thank you both. We are now going to open the floor for questions. We'll start with those in the room. Just alert me if you have a question coming up. Valer.
Hey, Mike. If you can just go a little deeper into the decision from earlier this week to with Gary Smith and what led to that decision. If you can just give us a little bit more insight, that'd be great.
Sure. So we talk a lot with our group, be it the players, the coaching staff, the support staff, about process versus outcome. An outcome is literally wins and losses. Process is how we win and what things we have to do to work hard not to lose. For us, we just can't afford to be reactionary or to be in a situation where we make decisions, rash based off of one game or one day or 1 week. Something like this, a decision like that, it goes over a period of time. You think about the idea of a group that was second place Supporter Shield in Eastern Conference this time last year. Obviously really has struggled toward the end of last season. And, to look at something like this, it's less 1 game or 1 week as much as maybe over the last 30-plus games over the last year. We just felt that there were some trends that we had hoped maybe would reverse or change. Didn't happen. And for us, felt like, rather than be reactionary, we were pretty measured with the idea that that was the right time to make a decision.
Yeah.
Mike, kind of a similar question. Obviously, Nashville has never had a manager besides Gary, and it feels like in a lot of ways the team is kind of linked with him. Now that he's not here, what are you looking for in the next manager? Is this kind of maybe a chance to reevaluate and kind of reassess the top-down vision of what you want the club to be on the pitch, and maybe what the time frame is looking like?
You think about from where we started with this group, and Ben, you obviously were covering us from the beginning. There's no question in my mind when we first started this whole project, like Gary was absolutely the right coach to take us into the start of this process. Over time, 4+ years in MLS and two more in USL, I just think it got to a certain point where we needed to have a new voice and a fresher perspective. And really, when you look at where we started, in NSC 1.0, as we continue to kind of need to look at a league and teams that grow and evolve, we have to do the same ourselves. So from that standpoint, the hope is that, where we go going forward, it's going to make sure that, we take advantage of the things we can that reflect, the league as it grows, and make sure that it reflects within our own team.
Rumba, I guess, what has just been the last 48 hours, I guess, been like for you? And I guess what kind of were you looking for as far as tactically or strategically for today's game?
Last 48 hours have been a little bit hectic. Lots of changes and new things that have popped up. I wanted us to be organized. I think keep our shape, and I think a staple of our club is to be sound defensively. And so I wanted to make sure that we continued that, even if there's a little bit of alterations and changes, but also like to be brave and to, try and take risks and to play with confidence and play with bravery. And so I think even offensively, you saw guys doing that and guys trying to express themselves. And so I think, those two things were clear, and I think those two things were what I was looking for.
Mike, obviously you said it well in terms of what was the team were last year at this point and what it is today. Do you still feel like in terms of personal, Nashville still has what it takes? to get better and get up there in the table, or was just a matter of the relationship with Gary and the guys in the institution?
You know, we feel strongly enough about the personnel that we have that making a move like this and doing it 12 games in gives a group that we believe has the personnel to compete and continue to do what the expectations of this club to advance in the playoffs and pursue a cup. You know, that's one of the big reasons that we made the move when we did. You know, to do it when there's still plenty of season left, where this group has a chance to embrace the situation we're in right now and to work towards pushing forward and pursue a playoff spot. So we believe we can do that with this group for sure.
Mike, yeah, kind of bouncing off of Claudio's question about, you know, the strength of the team and the amount of the players you have. It's good quality. Do you by chance have any idea of maybe adding players in the summer window? Or would that kind of just wait until a new coach is in process here?
You know, to be totally honest, we'll be as transparent as possible. You know, I just really can't comment about what our plans are for the summer window. You know, I don't want to create a competitive disadvantage for our team. But obviously, you know, I mean, you look historically what our group's done. We've always looked to add players in each window, and looking at, you know, taking the first half of the season, if it's summer window, the second half of the season, or the whole body of work for the season heading into the winter window, you know, taking a really good look at what we think we might need to add to our group and enhance it. So it's definitely something that we're looking at. But I would say also it's important to make sure that we're either, you know, all along we always make sure that a manager plays a huge role in the players we end up acquiring. But, you know, even more so making sure that when we're adding players, the hope is we bring guys in that they're flexible players and versatile enough that they can play for different managers in a variety of shapes and in a variety of positions.
Rumba, you're obviously being dropped into the fire here a little bit in the middle of the season. What's it going to take to kind of get this team back on track, and how do you go about that?
I think being dropped into like this situation, I think, is just a little bit different. I was brought to the club to help make players better, right? And so in this time period, why I'm trying to help steer the ship is trying to continue to make players better and have them excel and be ready for the next person who comes to lead the club. And so it's the same job I was doing, just a different capacity. So I still just want to help each individual be the best version of themselves, and so hope we continue to do that.
We got time for 2 more questions. Ben, go ahead.
Mike, there have been a couple pretty significant investments in the transfer market that haven't worked. I'm thinking maybe Ake Loba, Rodrigo Pinheiro. Is that kind of do those play a role in the decision to let Gary go? And is that something you're kind of looking to improve on with the next manager? Is kind of that player development and making the most of those investments?
You know, honestly, I feel like it's probably not appropriate for me to comment on, you know, what didn't happen with the manager not here anymore. You know, what I can say is that, you know, for us, you have to look at, I mentioned as we move into like maybe 2.0 and evolution of our club on the field, we have to take advantage of the things that our league allows us to do, and whether that's utilizing players in the U22 initiative, whether it's being able to identify players from areas of the country and parts of the world that'll generate high resale value. You know, we have to make sure that we're malleable and we're flexible ourselves. And, you know, for us, I think that's something, there's lessons learned for all of us to keep getting better, including myself.
Mike, I know you're not going to give us names because you don't want to give us any competitive advantage or anything like that, but I'm just curious in a profile sense, what are you looking for the next manager, and have you already started that process of looking into that?
Well, you already answered the first part of the question yourself, so I'm not going to touch on that. You know, what I would tell you is, we're being open-minded. You know, we're not going to box ourselves in a corner and say it's got to be somebody from a certain part of the world or for, certain experiences. You know, what I would say also, though, is, the idea of having insight into what you're looking for. I don't know that you just start doing that like you move a manager one day and you start the next day. You know, I think for us, the leadership for our club, I think we always have ideas about things that we think are important to have, not only in our current manager, but just in leadership in general in our club. Probably not the answer that you want, but what I would tell you is, we're being very open-minded, very thoughtful, and very strategic. And I hope you appreciate that when we do announce the manager, it's not going to be like a knee-jerk type reaction, and just like a rash hiring. It's going to be someone that went through a lot of thought and decision-making about what's the best interest. Not only like who's the best manager, really, it's who's the best manager for Nashville SC.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Rumba. That will conclude today's media availability. We look forward to seeing you on Match Day -2 on Thursday morning. Thank you.